April 11th, 2022. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. I'm Kevin.
No, I'm done.
And I'm not going to even sing today. No singing. No singing. This is our post-Wasteland show. If you were thinking we were going to have Larry and Brian on, forget it. That's not going to happen. Although Larry is up in town, he's still handling the affairs of his father who passed away.
Yeah.
And my brother, though, is out driving somewhere. Probably see Larry tomorrow during trivia. Don't really care to go to the Tuesday trivia. It is my favorite trivia. It's the trivia that we like, by that Cleveland trivia dude, Brian. Mm-hmm. But Tuesdays is not the day I want to go drinking.
Right.
I don't, I'd like to do it on a Friday or a Saturday, but for whatever reason, bars generally don't have trivia on those days because they already get people in on those days.
Yeah, they're not trying to pull anybody in.
Right. And so, they have to have it on the day, but like Thursday, that's close enough to the weekend. Like I can get through a Friday with a little bit of a hangover, you know what I mean? If I have one and make it, but Tuesday I can't be, hammered and then trying to get through the rest of the week. So, I mean, I can have a beer and that's fine. I'm not trying to get hammered, but like I have certain friends like Christine, for instance, that wants to close it down. And it's just like, nope, I got to go home, 10 o'clock, trivia's over. I'm out. I got to work in the morning. It's no fun. That's just as well, though. I'm getting too old for that, shutting shit down stuff. I don't know how that girl does it. She's, I guess just a really busy mom or something. Because she's like, pretty thin, really, and able to, throw back a lot. It's like, look at like Larry can throw back a lot. He's not pretty thin,
Right.
So it's one of those things, I guess. Whatever. How you doing? Anything new this week?
Well, nothing new. Although once you started talking, I looked at the headline on my phone.
Yeah.
That would only be of interest to you and me because the headline is once
anyway, right?
Yeah, it's just nobody's. Yeah, the headline is once a U.S. retail giant, Kmart will be down to just 3 stores after this week.
It's interesting that you just saw that because, and you're right, it would only interest you and me. I just read about because a video popped up about this guy that was walking through a working Sears in California, and there's only like 20 Sears stores left or something.
I was going to say, not for long.
And there were like a similar number of Kmarts, but I guess the Kmarts are going to go. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, they're just liquidating the properties at this point and getting rid of old inventory. I mean, those stores are basically done. But I was at the mall the other day, and lots of people buying stuff and and picking stuff up. A lot of clothing sales, especially, right? But other stuff too. I think some like stores that sell clothing, makeup, perfume, that kind of stuff, people are still going to go out and get it, right? Because you got to try it on and all that kind of thing. Mail order. Yeah, they let you send it back and stuff, but it's a hassle. You know what I mean? Like if you go to the store, you can get what fits now and make sure it's right and looks good and everything. And, and whatever. And same with other things that are similar. And I also think that, this shipping cost stuff has been cheap for a while, but part of the reason shipping has been cheap is because the United States Postal Service, sort of worked a deal with Amazon where they would like deliver a package for, I think it's like $1.25 or something, like super, super cheap. And to win the contract, which granted in volume, they probably make a decent amount of money, loading up their trucks and doing it. But, that's just not sustainable because the USPS just doesn't make enough money. And meanwhile, Amazon has this sort of contractor thing with their drivers that's sort of making it like they're not employees, they're independent contractors, so we don't have to give them benefits, or, we let these other organizations run these sorts of drivers and things. And I think that's all going to come to a head at some point too. And I think that long term, this mail order stuff, it's not going to go away. But I think that the shipping costs are going to get more expensive rather than less expensive. And in turn, paying for Prime is going to become more expensive, especially as they continue to add new things to it. That people may opt out of it. And then it's going to sort of make them think like, do I want to pay for shipping or do I want to just drive up to the store and go buy it? And I think we may see a shift back to brick and mortar stores over time. And listen, I'm not talking about like next year or anything. This is going to be it was a gradual decay. And I think it'll be a gradual shift back to brick and mortar because I think there's room for both, but I don't think that you can do the mail order only thing. I don't think this is good for America or any other country where Amazon just dominates in the entire retail industry. Essentially, it's it's cool that you can order anything that you need. I need a screw and a bolt. I'll go on Amazon. Right. There it is. I'm going to get that sent to me. Great. That's totally awesome. But this free shipping shit, and I think most people will even agree, like, you'll order something and it'll come in like a box that's like way too big, or, you'll order something that's like super small, like a package of Tic Tacs, and they'll send it to you and stuff. And you're like, how is that economical? That's
right.
Like it's like they're just cheating like the system right now, and it's going to catch up to them. I also think that at some point someone's going to get in office with the right amount of balls to hit Amazon with an antitrust and break the company up because it's too big. It's a monopoly, basically. I mean, nobody can really realistically compete against them in this space. Now, we'll see. And the other thing, too, is a lot of their warehouses are unionizing. That's going to cost them more money. And I just think it's a house of cards. It's not going to completely collapse at all, but I think it's going to change. And people are going to have to go back to paying for shipping because, it costs fucking money. Right? Moving shit from one place to the other, it's expensive. But then, the brick and mortar stores, they also learning some lessons and they can compete, like Walmart. It's funny to me because Walmart could like deliver from the store to your house. Like Walmart's not that far away from most people. So why not have delivery? Right. And they do it for food and stuff. And you can order other things too, but it's not great. Like they don't do a lot of it. And like, there's only so many delivery slots available. And then, you have to pick a day when you want to get stuff. Like there's no like 1 hour delivery or something, but it's like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not just hire like 10 drivers, and then use like Uber or DoorDash or something. For any kind of overflow and just take the orders and drive the damn thing there. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
There's a service for that.
What, like DoorDash or whatever?
Well, DoorDash goes to Walmart and all that stuff. And then
right.
But I've realized working in the furniture business, they have their own thing called Dolly.
Okay.
That's some company that shows up and they come and pick up your furniture. They bring it to your house.
No, I know. I mean, yeah, there's definitely third-party services, but I guess if you want to compete against an Amazon type of thing, you have to control costs too. Like, you want to be able to give the free delivery or have a low delivery cost. You can't be charging $20 and stuff to get that package of Tic Tacs. That's not going to work. Yeah. But anyway, well, we're getting there. I mean, robotic vehicles and shit like that eventually, before I'm dead, I think will also be a thing. Something will just come into my driveway, a little mechanical thing will drop it, and
it'll be like Star Wars.
Yeah, it'll just drive off, and I'll be like, this ain't the right thing, you fucked.
It'll be like Star Wars. Some little robot monster will show up and drop something off, and there'll be like 2 or 3 of them, and they like run into each other, and it's all funny. And you're like, oh, look, it's so cute. The little robots have personalities.
It weighs like 300 pounds and falls over on you and injures you.
Gets stuck in your yard because it rained.
Get it off.
Stepped on the grass.
Yeah. kills
Like,
the
what?
dog. It tried to attack me.
But, so that was one.
Yeah.
The Kmart thing. That was that one that just came up. But I had another story
Okay.
of something that would only interest you and me. The other day, because I watched.
We'll make it interesting for everyone.
We'll try.
Yeah.
We're going to try.
We'll try.
People know the connection, so they'll be like, "Oh, I've heard of this." I watch Buzzer TV. You know, the one with the
it's like
all the old game shows.
Yeah,
like all the old game shows. You know what I mean? And I'll put that on. I'll put on like Super Concentration, whatever, whatever old shows on. I'll put it on in the background while I'm sitting here reading or looking through my phone or whatever. And I don't know what it was. It was, Card Sharks or something. Something was on, and a commercial. They run the old commercials from back in the day. They don't run new commercials in between. And it was kind of weird, because I'm just sitting here and I'm just reading something, and then all of a sudden the commercial came out. It goes, "New at KFC, Chicken Littles, the littlest chicken sandwich you'll ever find," or something like that. And I was just like, "What?" And I looked up, and it was the Chicken Littles that we used to get. And I was just like, "Oh my god!" It's like, I haven't seen those in, And then I stopped and was like, "Oh, it's an old commercial." I thought they brought it back. I was just like, "What?"
That would have been amazing.
Chicken Littles are back, but no.
They would have cost way too much today.
$3.
Yeah. Just I actually went into
$5.
Burger King today because I had to go to the bathroom, and it was the one over in Lakewood. And I go over to the bathroom door, and of course it's locked. And it's like, you need to get a key, right? But you got to buy something, customers only. So I'm like, I don't need anything, it's kind of in a hurry actually. And I was like, well, I'll just get a drink, So I ordered a large diet or whatever, because I don't know, it just comes to mind, just get that.
Right.
And it was $3 and a penny.
Yeah.
For like a large drink. I'm like, that's ridiculous. It's just
you get a 2-liter for less than that.
I mean, jeez, yeah, crazy. I don't know. Anyway,
Chicken Littles. Woo.
Yeah, Chicken Littles. People don't know it was just a small breaded chicken thing on basically like a biscuit, basically.
Yeah,
and it was really good.
It was delicious, and we liked it.
It was not around for very long. But
no.
Yeah, we would KFC was like right around the corner from our high school.
Yeah.
And so we just
and they were $1. So it was like we had $1.
Yeah. There was some things we could buy. Meatball subs, Chicken Littles.
$1.85.
It was good stuff. So Moon Knight, did you watch the second episode?
I did.
What'd you think?
I kind of got disappointed in the end because watching it, I've built myself up to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for this other dude to show up. And it's like, no, it's not a physical person that's going to show up. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I kind of was like, oh, wait a minute. He is the person, Yeah. Because he's got the different identities or whatever. He's got the craziness. And so it's like, yeah, it was kind of. I was watching it, and it's okay. They got to hurry up though, man. They're like a third of the way through the series, and you know what I mean. And it's just like, okay, what have you done so far? It's like, well, we went around town a lot. Blacked out.
Let's just say for what it is. It's a stupid character. I mean, the acting and everything in the show, but this is dumb. Like the split personality thing, it's just dumb. Like it's dumb. Like it doesn't. What does it represent? It's stupid. It's trying to make it interesting, but it reads more frustrating than interesting to me. Like I feel like, just like you said, you got to hurry it up. Like that's what I'm thinking. I think that's what everybody's thinking. Like just switch over. Don't be this guy. Be the other guy.
Right.
Get to the bottom of the mystery. Find out what's going on. But instead, we get the idiot guy. And again, I just want to point this out. I think he's a great actor. That guy. He's playing the role right.
Yeah.
But the Moon Knight just sucks. The other thing, listen, I don't know how much you know about Moon Knight, but I realize
I know enough.
I realize that he's following after the Egyptian moon leader. What's his face? Khonshu. Okay. But when or does the moon get involved here? Like, if there's
No.
a full moon, does he become more
No.
powerful? Does he permanently switch to Moon Knight? Does he like the werewolf and change into Moon Knight because it's a
No.
full moon?
Not that I know of, but they've made it so much different than the comic book. I don't really know. Maybe they'll do that. I don't, but I don't believe so, because
I read that this character was actually created because of another comic that I never heard of that dealt with werewolves. And he was, I guess, some sort of nemesis to the werewolves. And the moon thing, werewolves in the moon, Moon Knight in the moon, that's what the correlation was. And so I was thinking, well, werewolves, I get. Moon comes out, werewolf. Moon comes out, Moon Knight. But no, I guess not. Moon Knight is just whenever the dumb guy wants to give up control to the cool guy, And I don't know. I don't. I'm a little bit concerned. Let me tell you something. I'm a little bit concerned now with Marvel right now, and I realize that it's still the same people in charge over there. So I'm tepid about this, but I had heard. I'm sure you did too. We may have even talked about it, that the new Doctor Strange that's coming out had to go through a lot of reshoots because wasn't a lot of content there. They weren't really happy with what they had, and so they filmed a lot more content to buff it out. So I'm a little worried that story is going to be weak.
Right.
It's Marvel though. It's a big IP for them, I suppose. Well, we'll see what happens. They may have spent a lot of money to fix it. Maybe. But now we've got Thor's movie coming out, right? It's like 3 months away. There has been no trailer, right? No trailer for that movie. And it's not far away. And that's concerning.
You just got the Doctor Strange one like a week ago.
The trailer?
Yeah.
No. It's been...
Well, okay. It's been like a month. It hasn't been that long.
Listen, we get trailers for good movies like, a year in advance. We get teasers anyway. There's not even a teaser for it. Like it's a concern, and they've screwed Thor up before, right? I think the second one,
Dark World,
not great. And they are coming off of Eternals, which wasn't great. So
Shang-Chi,
no, I know
Shang-Chi was good. That was
Shang-Chi was good, but it's another one. It's another one. Really, it's on there, man. Watch it.
No, I know. Listen,
you know what? It's another one where it's good, and I'm not. I'm not trying, but I'm not trying to say anything negative about ethnicities or anything. Okay, but I often feel like the media. And critics and things overly embrace some things because of they're trying to show that they like the ethnicity films, more. Like, I just don't think that Shang-Chi or Black Panther are better films than, say, like a Black Widow or Thor Ragnarok, for instance, right? Like, I think they're all sort of equally Marvel-esque movies, and they're all pretty good. But when Black Panther was out, before I had seen it, people were telling me it was like a spy thriller, and it was like amazing and all this kind of stuff, and it was doing really well. And it did. It did really well in theaters, and it had these really high ratings and everything. And I went in and watched it, and it's a good movie, I guess, but I'm just sitting there going like, that's not what I was being told. Like, this is just a regular origins, movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like all the other ones, really. It's just, okay, it happens in Africa, and this guy's got powers and stuff, and it's kind of interesting because it's all futuristic and it's hidden in this thing. I get all that, but it wasn't like no spy thriller or anything. You know what I mean? It was just another drop down, bang out, fighting movie. And Shang-Chi, same thing. You know what I mean? It's like the dude has kung fu, and he goes in, and his father's the bad guy at first, and then they're beating each other up and everything, and then there's dragons and shit, and and it's just another punch and kick, and but it's got good dialogue, just like these other ones do. It's fun. You watch it. It's good. but I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, I think it's just oversold. I think they oversell it because, there's this problem in Hollywood right now, especially at the Oscars, where they're all just like,
right.
all the white people get Oscars and all the black people, all your movies were no good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And same with same with Asians and other ethnicities. They don't get any representation. And so when they make a movie where, they have a predominantly black cast or an Asian cast, then all of a sudden, like, the critics are gushing over it, and I just think, it's good, but it's I don't know, the praise is too high, and I think these things will self-correct over time. I mean, I don't know. I think everybody would agree with me on this. I don't think anybody really comes away from those films thinking that was the best Marvel movie ever or anything like that. Right. It was just good, I don't know. I always got to be careful the way I say things on here. I always feel like I'm going to offend somebody, but I can't help it. I'm just telling you how I feel. I just feel like,
Yeah, I mean, if we were worried about that, we would have been gone a long time ago. Listen, here's the thing about Doctor Strange. All right, here's what you got to, because now that you've said that, where you're like, I don't know. I'm starting to think, I don't know. If you think about it, Sam Raimi's doing the new Doctor Strange. And you remember Sam Raimi's last project with a comic book hero character in it, don't you?
Say that again?
Sam Raimi's doing the new Doctor Strange.
No, I got that part. The comic book part? What?
Do you remember Sam Raimi's last comic book movie that he did?
Was it a Spider-Man film?
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 with Venom and Sandman and with that terrible one.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, you might have something to worry about. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, because as soon as you said that, when you're like, they started doing reshoots and it's like, it may not be no story or anything. And that's like, well, it is Sam Raimi. And not that Sam Raimi's bad, but he didn't really, come out on top with that last Spider-Man that he did. So it makes you wonder, because even when James Gunn left Guardians of the Galaxy and went to go do Suicide Squad, I was of the thinking, okay, this guy knows how to make a movie. And the Suicide Squad, it was better than the first one, but it wasn't great. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Guardians of the Galaxy good.
No, right. Yeah. And I don't know. Disney's got a huge war chest of cash to hire directors that they want and actors that they want. I think everybody wants to be in these films because they're cash cows, right? I mean, They've got all the actors that are good actors. You know what I mean? They're getting great people to be in a lot of these films. And sometimes they take a bunch of nobodies too and make great movies out of them. And that's awesome as well. But it seems like they have listen, they're basically on top. They're king of the hill right now. I mean, you may not like superhero movies, people that are listening, but the fact of the matter is that you can't argue with the success of it. I mean, they're just billions and billions of dollars on, each one. They're just shoveling cash into the mouse's pockets. So they have the ability to, make any sort of mistakes or anything they want to do. But some of these decisions that they're making is unusual. I don't know. And I'm just not, and we talked about this before. I'm just not sure what we're doing because, you think we're going towards Secret Wars. That's cool. But there's no real bent on that right now. It's still early days and everything, but I
didn't think it. I'm just saying they're doing Secret Avengers.
Yeah,
I would have liked for them to do the Secret Wars, but it's too late because Captain America's gone.
Part of it too is that like Infinity War was mostly driven by Joss Whedon, right?
Right.
He had a great success record there with the Avengers films, and Disney's just like, whatever you want to do, man. You're killing it. But now he's had these sexual abuse issues or whatever it is against him, and I don't know if he's still in the mouse house or not, but it's probably, I think it's probably not being driven that well at this point, and it's probably I don't know. This is going to be interesting. Look, I know. I'm here. I'm all along for the ride. I'm just a little bit concerned that things might get sloppy, and I hope not. And we'll see how it goes. I'm still kind of interested to see. Well, I'm interested to see Deadpool show up in Doctor Strange because that's going to be the first real Disney-owned Marvel crossover with a mutant thing that we know about. You know, I was reading in the comic books too about the comic books because I was looking something up the other day. And basically, it sounds like mutants are. Now, this is Marvel lore at this point, right? It wasn't this way when we were young.
Right.
But the mutants, the reason for the mutants is everybody shares a bloodline with the Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Phoenix is what creates the Phoenix Force is what creates the mutants. And so they were also saying that somebody else, now I can't remember who, but somebody you wouldn't think might actually be a mutant because of the Phoenix Force having created them. But I'd have to look that up. But I thought that was interesting. If you don't know, folks, if you never read any of the mutant comics,
we'll tell you all about them.
Yeah. Essentially, you have your mutants and each one has one or multiple powers, right? That they get at puberty, essentially.
Or mutation.
Yeah. Some of them, a few of them born with it, but most of them puberty hits and that's when they get their powers and they can do all kinds of stuff. And so in the comic books, you just kind of accept that. I don't think they ever, Donnie, you could tell me if it was maybe in the very early days. I mean, because I read classic X-Men, I don't think they ever said like, mutants started with like toxic barrels or anything.
No, they never. No, there was never like a cause or a
right. It just kind of was a thing.
Yeah,
and then
like
so
just
like
a weird genetic gene.
Right, and so in the early X-Men, you had like Cyclops who could shoot lasers out of his eyes, and you had Jean Grey who was doing telekinesis and a little bit of telekinetics or whatever, and you had Angel who just had wings.
Dumb. Just fly around.
Yeah. Dumb. Iceman who could turn stuff to ice, and Beast who was just muscular, and he was just a dude in the beginning. He was just a muscle dude. And then
he mutated even further.
Yeah, and they decided that they wanted to make him blue and furry, which is actually, as goofy as that sounds, it works because being a mutant in the comics, in the X-Men comics, was like a curse. Like it was like you could use your powers for good, but they could be very depressing. You're like Rogue and you can't touch someone. Cyclops, he has to wear like ruby quartz glasses or he'll blow a hole through your head. Everybody has like some sort of difficulty with their mutations.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But it was also a thing where people were afraid of them, hated them.
Well, right. That's the political bent on it too.
That's all that.
I get a little bit tired of that. No muties
storyline, it works.
But I know, but it's like there's other storylines like Hollywood's like those Sony movies. They were just constantly making them about or Fox movies, whatever it was. They were just constantly making them about that subject, and it's like there were other struggles. I know it was the biggest one. I get it, but there's more, and they ventured a little bit into Wolverine, but I was just kind of mad about like Rogue to me was a huge property, and they just, Anna Paquin's fine as an actor and everything. They just didn't do anything with her. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it just wasn't good. And I don't know. And like they wasted Halle Berry. They just didn't do things right. They were in love with Hugh Jackman, and I understand Wolverine, big deal, but there were others. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so in the early days of the X-Men, there's this fiery bird out in space. It's the Phoenix. It's just made of fire, and it looks like a bird. It looks like an eagle or something, or a hawk or whatever. And it decides to go into Jean Grey. I don't really know why. It just said to itself, like, I'm going to put my power into Jean Grey. And
I like her.
And the Phoenix has been around since the creation of the universe, essentially, or before it. It's one of the oldest things, along with a lot of the other celestials and things that are always talked about in the Marvel universe. But and that made Jean Grey ridiculously powerful. Like, she could just, like, Scott Summers or Cyclops could take his glasses off and she could make it so his, laser beams didn't even come out of his eyes.
Right.
She could change her outfits and change the molecular structure of them at will. And she could do whatever she wants. And then it just all gets weird after that, really. I mean, she eventually dies, and then there's another Jean Grey, and then there's Goblin Queen, Mr. Sinister, and all this sort of stuff.
Madeline Pryor.
Dark Phoenix and Evil Phoenix and all these things. But yeah, Madeline, it just gets kind of dumb. But yeah, so that's what the Phoenix is. And so, like, they're saying in Marvel lore that all mutants originally came from this Phoenix Force, which is kind of interesting. Don't know really what that means, but oh well.
Yeah. Whatever, I don't read it anymore. So, anyways, Moon Knight.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
I have no idea. I was just
no. I mean, I watched it, and I was thinking kind of along the same lines as you. I mean, it was kind of moving along, and then it's just like it's a little goofy because, like, these Egyptian gods are kind of there and talking. You know what I mean? Right. They appear, and then Ethan Hawke shows up. I can't even tell if Ethan Hawke... I mean, I think Ethan Hawke's a bad guy, but it's hard to tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy because it seems like Moon Knight's kind of a bad guy too, and he's got this wife and everything, and
that's my thing. Is like, then obviously this has been going on for a long time,
right?
I mean, obviously, because the dude, like, in the beginning of the show, he's got himself chained to his bed. He knows that he disappears and walks off and shows up at different places. So he's, like, prepared for it. But this is, like, the first time he's ever, like, talked. Like, so now it's just, I don't know. It's
goofy. It's goofy. It's a very, it's kind of messy right now. Now, listen, they might pull it out. Let's see. I mean, but I really don't think I'm going to walk away from this thing and it's one of the better ones. I mean, it's just, they're trying, like, you can get a taste here that Disney's trying to be creative with these properties. They got a real good, I think they got an Emmy or something, or at least nominated for WandaVision because of that whole, like, different sitcoms every episode thing they were doing. And you can see it too in Loki, with this dimensional time thing and all this kind of stuff, that they were trying to be very creative in that too. And then you've got Winter Soldier, which wasn't, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was not interesting at all. And the Hawkeye, which was also kind of boring. They kind of get these boring ones in between. And this is another one where, like, I think they're trying to be very creative because, look, to you and I, being Marvel fans, we're watching this thing and we're like, right? But the Academy, or the Emmy people anyway, are, they're going to look at what's his face, the actor. Can I remember this guy's name?
Oscar Isaac. And they're going to be like, that guy deserves an Emmy. I mean, look at all the different ways he played this guy. You know what I mean? Right.
And that's going to bring attention and prestige to Disney's online service because they're going to win awards. And so, like, they're award hunting.
Yeah.
And I'm, kind of, I can kind of see that, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're being overly creative on purpose because you're award hunting, and maybe this doesn't all help the story that much, Well,
I wonder how much of it is, because if you think about it, you got like 4 or 5 different Netflix Marvel shows, and then all the ones whatever on Disney Plus. None of the Disney Plus ones have touched the Netflix ones, for just content wise. And if you think about it, like, the Netflix ones were like 13 episodes. And by the end of it, you were just kind of like, come on, let's go. Like, let's get to the end. Cause there's already been so much stuff done. And there's already been, Daredevil's fought the guys in the hallway 50 times by now. It's like, all right, come on. Let's, you could have ended this early, but then you get to these Disney shows and there are only 6 episodes. And it's like, God, come on, you got to give us more. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, there's a sweet spot in between. And I think, do you think maybe Disney is thinking of the whole process as in, like, this is a series. It's not just one off. Like, there'll be another Hawkeye next year, or there'll be another Moon Knight, like a season 2, because they say they're going to come back for Loki. I believe they said they're going to do, or they're thinking of doing a second WandaVision. They can scrap the whole Winter Soldier, Falcon, and that nobody cares about that. And but so it's like they're just kind of, it seems like they're just kind of throwing stuff out there, like, okay, let's throw this character out here in this situation, we'll throw this out here, if people like it, okay, then we'll put it into a series. If not, then we'll just move on to the next thing. So maybe,
no,
I don't know.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, look, we know that we knew this for a while, but we knew that Scarlet Witch is going to play a critical role going forward in a lot of this stuff, and she's definitely in Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange, and
Right.
and she's going to so her coming out of WandaVision and setting it up, that made sense, right? But I don't get that same vibe from these other shows, like, okay, they bring back, they have a way of now, bringing Loki back so he could be in the next Thor movie or something, because he's part of the draw to get audiences in to watch these films. People like him, Hiddleston or whatever his name is. And, so that kind of makes sense to have the Loki, have a story to sort of, bring him back around. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, they're doing a second season of Loki because it's gonna tie in with Kang, and it's gonna go into the Ant-Man movie when that comes out, whatever, next year or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's the only one that's like, quote unquote, confirmed for a second season type of thing.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know if that's what they're looking to do. If they're just looking to do like one-off series, hey, let's just do a 6-episode series on Molecule Man, and it'd be like, well, that's just dumb. Like,
no, I agree with you. That. Like, I see, like, you were right. Like the episode thing. See, I think what it was is Daredevil and Jessica Jones were too long. Like, they were 13 episodes, 12 or 13 episodes.
It's like you could compress 2 episodes down into one.
Right. And so, but you could have had somewhere around 8 to 10 episodes, right? Let's say 9. Let's say a happy medium.
Right.
9 episodes might be a good sweet spot. 6 is too little. 6 is like, you barely get the origin out. And then how are you now, there's like no middle part. You're already going into the finale. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you're really kind of, and especially because the distance between seasons is so long. Like, when The Walking Dead and stuff would have like, a half a season arc, 8 episodes or something, you only had to wait like 4 months or something for the other half of that the other 8 episodes to come back around. Right. But here we're talking 6 episodes. You're waiting a year. You might not get a sequel. You might never see the character again. You really don't know, and you better hope that the actor is going to come around again. But the actors are going to age too. It's like, it's just a weird thing that Disney's doing. I don't know why they don't want to just lock down something longer. Now, I get it though. Let me say this. I get it, like with Scarlet Witch again, and Loki, because these are characters that you're going to use in blockbuster films, right? So we're going to see her again, and we're going to see him again. I'm sure of it, probably in the Thor film. I can't say for sure because there hasn't been a teaser or a trailer at this point, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be in it, or, at least his ghost or something. So, so those make sense. Like, okay, 6 episodes because we know that it's going to be coming and stuff like that. I don't know about Moon Knight though. Like, Moon Knight 6. I mean, does anybody care? Like, I mean, what is he really going to do? Like, I don't know. And again, that gets into this weird Avengers thing too. We talked about this before, where you have ridiculously powerful people like Thor and Hulk and stuff, and then Black Widow. That Hawkeye just punch, kick, and shoot arrows and things at people. And so, like, what's Moon Knight? Moon Knight's just a dude in a mummy suit with a couple of batarangs or whatever that he can just like punch and kick, you know,
couple sticks to beat you up with.
Right. When he's doesn't, you know, and he has control of his personality or something. Not that interesting. I mean, it could be an Avenger or something. It's just, I don't know. I'm with
The
you.
comic book version. The comic book version was more interesting. Not that I read a lot about. Not that I read a lot of stuff, but whenever he was involved, it was like, yeah, he's a split personality dude. The one dude's an assassin or whatever, and then the other one's a taxi driver, and the other one is whatever. But they never delved into that. You know what I mean? In the comics, they were just like, hey, this dude's crazy. He's schizophrenic. He's got multiple personalities. And, oh, here comes Moon Knight. You know what I mean? And he punch people in the face and say kapow or whatever. And
it's strange. I almost feel bad in a sense that Disney owns X-Men at this point because I feel like I'm never going to see X-Men movies because they're concentrating so much on these all these other characters and everything. And like if we still have, I mean, I didn't want necessarily Fox to keep owning them because they weren't doing good with them, you know. But at least another movie studio that maybe like Paramount, for instance, like Paramount could have had them and maybe done something cool with them. But instead now they're in the Disney camp and it's kind of like nothing so far. We've talked about that. I'm not going to rant on about it, but I'm just like, if they're doing their sort of the MCU universe with them and spacing them out with these other things, I mean, it's going to be years. It's going to be years until we get more X-Men stuff. And there's so many stories that could be told and so many characters that could be done.
I think with this Doctor Strange thing, it's going to open up. I think you're going to see it like open it up.
Well, no, I mean you know that could be true. They've certainly put a lot of new things out there in terms of crossover stuff that I've already seen. From the few movies that they've shown, especially in the trailers, not trailers, what end credits or whatever, scenes and stuff like that between Spider-Man and even Morbius. But I don't know, man. We'll see. There's more to come. So anyway, let's move on. I think people might get tired of us talking about this all the time.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. Cinema Wasteland was this weekend, and I went on both days. Donnie went on Friday.
Yep.
And I just was, I got a thing now with it. Like I go in at about 9. No point in going earlier. I just see my brother's tired face.
Right.
Most people are going to be there about 9 or later. And, and then I can hang out and talk to people for a couple hours and get out of there. Now, actually on Friday I was there past midnight, I think.
That's my fault probably.
And no, but Donnie was there. We were talking. It was a good time. It was good to see people. So it was a smaller group, but actually there was more people there on Friday than there usually is. Usually Fridays is dead. I mean, Korber was there. It was good to see him. He wasn't drinking, which was good, I suppose. And
face is awfully red. You notice that?
Yeah, I don't know if he's got some sort of rosacea or something with that, or
I didn't want to say nothing. I was just like, you know what, just
I don't. No, it's been like that. He's got that beard, and with that beard, his face is like that beet red thing. I don't know what's going on there, but he's had some medical issues, so who knows?
Right? Yeah, I was just like, there's no point in it. This isn't the place to ask.
Right. So I talked to him, a bit and everything, and then nothing exciting happened though, folks. People, I don't know how long this has been going on now. Like, 15 years, maybe?
Long time.
And at least 10, maybe 15 years. And
I was married in Fairview. I don't know if I was married, but I was living in Fairview. So that was before I went to Columbus, and that would have been like 05, 06.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that, easily.
Okay. So about 15, 16 years of this thing going on.
Yeah.
And people are older now. There's less tomfoolery going on.
Yeah.
There's no Blackie. showing up anymore. He's too civilized or something now with his
No wine there.
wine and cheese life that he has, etc. And I don't know. You know, the drinking to obsess is there's still some people that are doing it, but it's more limited than it has been in the past and that kind of thing. So it's you know, it's still happening, but short of girls though, like
always has been.
Yeah, but I mean, so I mean,
Isn't it?
at least when I'm there, I mean, and not toot my own horn here, but I mean, like that one time, like Amber, Cheryl, Jennifer were there. And then, you know, Tripp's, that's another thing too. Like, I don't like, was Tripp married? Because I think he's got a new girl.
Yeah, that's his new wife.
Oh, he's married. Okay.
That's not, yeah, you're thinking of the loud one.
Yeah, I don't know her name, right? But he would always show up with her, and then he had this new girl this time, and I just like, I don't know him that well, so I wasn't gonna be like, what's going on, you know what I mean? But I can ask you and stuff and talk about it on radio to the whole world. But
you don't want to walk up to her and be like, hey, you're not as loud as you normally are.
No, I knew it was a different person, but I didn't know if Tripp was ever actually married to the first girl, you know what I mean? And they were just boyfriend and girlfriend, and this is a new girlfriend or whatever, but it's okay. I don't need to talk about his business on here. I just saw it and I was like, huh, you know, I just didn't know. Yeah. But I mean, Randy was there with his girl and his daughter, and Angie and Rusty, and then Rusty's sister. So it's not completely void, but you know, it's thinner than it has been. Go ahead.
Rusty, who looks like El Duce, and his sister, who looks like Kelly Carlin.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know them. I mean, that's nothing against them. I'm just saying.
No. This
is what you look like.
You know, I mean, the whole thing is basically like a hotel party. So I went on the second night. Cease was there. It was really funny talking to Cease because he was telling, and I can't do it justice, man. I mean, the hate just has a way of telling these stories that's just funny. And but he was talking about when they would hang out at Brian Osborne's house when they were kids. And the way these houses were set up was they were all on a street, just like a normal suburb street, right? And then in the back of the houses, there was a big field. Like you kind of had your backyard, and then your backyard would end, and then there was a big field. And a lot of times we would play soccer or something in that field, or football or something if we were over in that area. I didn't hang out with these guys when I was really young. I think they probably did a lot in that field, but sometimes occasionally, because I hung out over there when I was in 8th grade. You know, they were still kicking the ball around occasionally out there at that point. And then if you went across the field all the way to the other side, there were these like apartments that were kind of nestled in a corner over there. And so these guys, especially Brian Osborne and Kevin Vinoy, would just terrorize those people over there by doing all sorts of pranks. But I mean, and Cease was talking about, Oz wasn't there. Oz had gone home. He had his kids at Wasteland. So Cease was just telling us about this. Like they would go over there and put an M80 in a trash can, you know, and then it would just like, you know, and wake everybody up in the middle of the night. And at one point, Oz was talking about how he would have his hose, and they would turn the hose on, and people would have their screen doors open, and he would just spray water into their living rooms and soak everything, you know. It's just he's just like, we were dicks, you know. But then Cease was saying, like, at one point he told him, Oz told Cease to get one of those beetle bags, you know, that is full of beetles. You ever seen those things in people's yards? And they took that and they poured it into some guy's, you know, those boxes in the back of their truck, you know, that.
Oh, the toolbox.
Toolbox, yeah. Just poured all the beetles into that thing. And then there was like they would take people's license plates and they would bend them back and forth until they snapped. I guess they were, you know, cheaperly made back then. And so like you would come out and you'd have like half a license plate, or it would be all bent to shit. And like Vinoy would pee in a guy's seat because he left his window down. I mean, the things they were saying were just so, I mean, if you're in horror listening to this, folks, imagine living by these people. It was a dangerous time.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they were just I don't know, just trouble. I mean, occasionally I would do some trouble stuff. Like I'd launch off the M80s with Vinoy or sneak out of his house and he'd rip those blinking lights off construction signs and stuff. Just be on the side of Brook Park Road hanging off a construction sign. Cars are driving by. There's a couple teenagers just ripping stupid blinking lights off of road signs, you know? Nobody stopped. Nobody said anything. Just whatever. Just wild kids back then.
That's funny because that reminded me of there's a street down here, Atlanta, and or it's in Westlake, and Dan was a big Atlanta Falcons fan, and we'd always drive past it, and he'd always be like, "Man, I'm gonna rip that sign down. I'm gonna rip that sign down. I want that sign. It says Atlanta." And the one day we were driving by, and he was like, "Oh, there's the sign." So I just turned right in, parked. I said, "Go get it." I was like, "Let's go jump up there and get it." And he climbed up the pole, and it was like bolted in, and it was something where he thought he was just going to jump up there,
you just rip it down,
just grab it off the top and walk away with it. But it was like, so he's hanging onto this pole and he's like shimmying it back and forth, like you were saying with the license plate. He's just like, and he finally got it down. Got in the car and we took off. And I was like, "There you go. There's your stupid street sign. I hope you're happy. I'm sick of hearing about it."
Dude, you remember the Witch's Grave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I work with a guy at Pierre Radisson, right? He was a waiter, our room service, I think. And he went to North Olmsted, but I think he was a year older than us or something. I think he hung out with that Tom Chicani dude who I can't even remember, but I know his name. Yeah. And he was telling me like one night, like when we were there, he was like, on the weekend, they like had stolen the gravestone from that place, that thing. He said he had it in the back of his car and it was weighing his whole car down. And they had taken it and put it in his garage and stuff. And I was just like, really? Because I know about the Witch's Grave. And, I was talking to him about it and stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, like, there's no witch in the Witch's Grave. It's just somebody's grave that you just stole their freaking tombstone. You know what I mean? Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
It's not a witch. It's not a real witch,
Mommy, somebody took Grandpa's stone.
I mean, it's fucking mean, man. Like, what are you doing? It's so stupid.
To show you the difference between Dan and Oz, there's an intersection at off of this road out here. It's Anderson and Osborne.
Oh,
so
nice.
there's like a double sign for it says Anderson and Osborne, and it's spelled just the way we both do or whatever. And I remember me and him driving past her, and I said, "Hey, you want to go out there and get it?" And he goes, "Nope."
Yeah, well, Oz like, has some sense, man. He's not
gonna... Yeah, we drive past her, and it's like, "Oh, look at that. That's cool." And he's like, "Yeah, that is cool." I was like, "Should we go grab that?" And he's like, "I'm not." I'm like, "All right, neither am I then." It's just funny.
Although, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
No. I mean, I like Oz. Oz would get into trouble. He's just very selective. As he got older, he got less motivated to do things.
Yeah. He's very selective about the things he gets involved with.
Right. Whereas Vinoy was, I mean, he might be to this day. It's just
Oz just like to watch.
Loose cannon. Yeah. Vinoy was angry.
Yeah.
Had to cause trouble. That whole Clegg Road area, like a lot of streets had a subset of kids, but that Clegg Road was like the Clegg Road extension, as it was called, was not a very long street by any means, and it had a lot of kids on it. It had like the Nobles, Vinoy, Oz, Taylor, right? The Toriyamas across the street.
I was going to say, that one chick across the street. Or two chicks across the street.
Leach right around the corner. There was that other girl across the street that, but I can't remember her name. But Oz brought her up the other day too, because, but no, I don't even, it doesn't matter. I didn't even be name dropping all these people, but who cares? They're not going to listen to the show. It doesn't matter. They're not listening.
And if anybody listening wants to go look them up, I don't care.
It's been ages since then. Who knows? But yeah, no, that street was just busy with kids. I mean, I lived in Jamestown. Kids my age, I mean, there was like, or around, right? There was me, Corber, that Jeremy dude, think that's it.
And if anybody else, we didn't talk to him.
Oh, and Steve, the black guy, used to come over and
The briefcase.
yeah, used to come over and hang out in my apartment. That was the four of us that went to North Olmsted. I mean, there were younger kids there, but that was a pretty big complex of apartments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a lot of kids. Whereas your street, Lansing down towards, was that Park Ridge? No, not Park Ridge.
Yeah, Forest Ridge.
Forest Ridge with Rom and Clay and Noggle.
And I had other kids. I had like Bill. Remember Bill from gym class?
Right.
I don't want to say all.
I mean, Toth was around the corner. You had Spitzness.
I had Vincey's, Mossburgers.
Yeah, the Mossburgers. Yeah.
Andrich. I had Bob and Tony around the corner.
Yep. Yeah, that whole strip was busy, man. Oh,
this neighborhood had a lot of people in it, and none of them liked me, but...
Stop.
I'm just kidding. Well, except for like the Roms, the Roms and the Bobs and Tonys. And
you didn't like people. That's what it really was. I'm not hanging out.
Just because you throw a basketball at somebody doesn't mean you don't like them.
Punks. Yeah.
I just don't like them anyway.
Well, no, that's a funny thing too that you bring that up because like North Olmsted, where we went to school and everything, folks. They had these developments, right? So the one that Donnie lived on, Forest Ridge, got along with most of the people on that street. Not all of them, okay, yeah. But most of them they were pretty cool. Bretton Ridge seemed a little crazy to me, right? It had Bailey. And it had Stair, the dresses, all of that was like
dresses.
Yeah, the girls. You don't know the dresses, maybe.
Oh, I don't know them. Okay, but it also had like Packard and George. And that's considered Bretton Ridge too,
right? Also a little crazy, crazy and weird. Bretton Ridge was kind of just, I don't know. It was just kind of a weirder. That's also kind of where they had like the egg wars and things were, driven out of Bretton Ridge. Bretton Ridge was, but it seemed like they had maybe a little more money too. Bretton Ridge. I always got a little. They were always a little bit more prep. So maybe that's something to do with it.
They got the highway run right through them, and then used to be like one big development, and then they were like, "We're putting a highway here." Like,
and then Park Ridge. It just seemed like a bunch of dicks that lived in Park Ridge. I can't
like the Forest Ridge people.
I can't remember anybody I actually hung out with that was from Park Ridge. There might have been some cool people that lived in Park Ridge.
There was like most of the jocks lived in there.
Yeah, right. Like people I didn't really care about, Now, not everybody lived in one of these things, folks. Like I said, I lived in an apartment complex. There were other streets and things that were just normal. There were lots of other streets that were normal, but there were these developments on like on the west side of town that
and they were all the same. They were all like a giant circle with like streets going laterally.
Yeah.
Across. You know what I mean? Like even like Jimmy, if you think of like Jimmy Carlin's neighborhood over there off of Canterbury.
Yeah.
It was just one road down, but it was like that first left, you would take it, it would circle around and come back to that main road again. Then you would drive down again, and there's another road. You take that to the left. You know what I mean? It was like a bunch of horseshoes off a main road.
It's like they must have these houses must have been all for sale at around the same time, and parents were all having kids at the same time, kind of thing,
Yeah.
Because it's like here where I'm at now, like when my neighbors moved in, they had asked me when they were looking at the house, they're like, "Is there a lot of kids around here?" And I was like, "I don't think so, because since I've been here, I haven't seen very many, and it's because I think this development was built around '87, and I think everybody's already had their kids, they've gone off to college, and they're gone." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they're just hanging out here. And now, of course, some people sell and move on, and you get a family that moves in, but it's real piecemeal. You know what I mean? Not like when it was first being built and all, everybody's buying family homes all at the same time. And I think that's what you end up with. You know what I mean? Like you get a lot of kids all in one development at the same age. And, it was just weird. I mean, and that was kind of like that when I lived on Luann in North Olmsted when I first moved to town, because we had Ted and Greg Baskin live right next door to me on the one side. We had some other kids that were around our age on the other side, but they seemed like they were, I don't know what religion they were, but they were like one of those more like, don't talk to other people religions, like don't don't hang out with those kids kind of thing. And then we had like, this Kevin kid across the street. He went to St. Richard's or something, but he was pretty smart. We had this Pakistani kid we used to hang out with, Sujat, and he was our age, and he also went to Catholic school. I know, weird. His parents were Muslim, but that's just how it was. And down the street, we had a whole bunch of other kids. I mean, like Diane Shibig and Doreen Hager and a whole bunch of kids. All on that one street. Same thing, There's the same kind of development, too. All the streets were named after women. It was like Luann. It's where Julie lived. She's on Terrace, and then Luann, Nancy, and Angela were all the street names. Elizabeth. It was a horrible time for me. Hated every minute of it. It was worse. Sorry, folks, for going through some sort of. I just all of a sudden just kind of dawned on me how weird that was, that there were so many kids at the same age. You know what I mean? Like in the same area. Like I don't know.
And that's and for each little neighborhood that there was, each one had its own little elementary school.
Yeah.
Where like we had Forest, and then across the street was Spruce, and then Chestnut was down the road.
Right.
But then
and there was a contraction. There was a contraction because when I first moved here, you would have been in third, right? And I would have been in fourth at that point. And they closed a bunch of schools that year.
Right.
So like
Maple.
Chestnut,
or Birch just became like kindergarten or something.
Right. I think Pine was still open, Forest was still open.
Maple might have still been open, right?
Spruce, was Pine or Maple that went down? One of them closed. And just
Maple
became some kind of other thing. Yeah, it didn't seem like the city sold them right away either. Like they were there still. You could go to them. You couldn't go to Co. That became like the UDF gas station.
Yeah,
but Chestnut was still there, and giving like a Sunrise Center or something like that. Horizon, yeah. And whatever that other one was that was behind Jamestown back there, like that
Birch.
Yeah, was that Birch? Yeah, that
was the one. That's where we used to have karate practice.
And so they shrank, and then they shrank again. Spruce is closed now, and because they didn't the population's just, it's the same thing. All the kids are gone. Older. And I mean they took the high school and merged it with the middle school, you know what I mean? And made it into one school because there's less kids. You pay 5 times as much as our parents paid in taxes for less kids, but that's just the way things are these days. But less schools. But when we were growing up, shitload of kids, man. Just, it's a different time. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, it's not to say I'm sure there's still like new developments going up in some, places, you know what I mean? Like if you go to like Medina or something, there's probably the same thing we grew up with, people moving in, bunch of kids, or North Ridgeville even, same thing going on. If you look at like Jean, Christie, April, Wellman's out there, they're all in like that same kind of area right there. And, they all have kids at the same time, the Acklins and same thing. They're all going to have, all their kids are going to go to school, but it's really just all based on these developments. You put a development in, all the kids grow up together, Right. Once the development's established, then it just becomes like, here's a kid here and here's a kid there, but it's not the same thing. I don't know. I just find that interesting. All right, folks, that's it for the show. Sorry if we bored you this week, but, not that much going on.
Trying to make the boring interesting.
Not that much. Not that much going on. I got to go to the dermatologist Thursday, though, so we'll see if there's any kind of
My kid turned 16 last week.
Oh, yeah, I saw. Congratulations. You posted a picture of her. I haven't seen your daughter in at least, like, freaking 7 years or something, so I was like, oh, yeah, she is older. Huh, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
16.
We don't have to get in there.
She's going to start driving now, right?
Already has.
Oh, really? Got temps or a full license?
She got her temps, but I made the mistake of, she's like, I got my temps, Mom. Let me drive her car. Can I drive your car? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And I let her drive from Home Depot in North Olmsted there, but back home. So she went around the back way. You know how we used to cut through there, Kennedy Ridge and stuff.
Yeah.
And so she's driving, and I'm like, okay, you know what? What I say, you got to do. And so we're driving, and I was like, okay, we're going to turn over. We're going to turn left up here. So she goes, okay. She puts her turn signal on. She's looking around. She pulls into the turning lane. I'm like, all right, look at this. She's doing great. She keeps going. There's cars coming. And I'm like, whoa, 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 stop. And she's like in the middle of these, just slams on the brakes. I was like the people coming were hitting their brakes because they were like, is this person going to cut in front of me? And I go, what are you doing? And she's like, what? I was going to turn. And I was like, you see the cars coming, don't you? And she goes, yeah. And I go, what are we going to do? Turn in front of them? She goes, well, I had my turn signal on. That's what I realized. That's what I asked her. That's what I said. So wait a minute. Have you actually had a class, like a driving ed class? And she goes, no. And I go, so nobody's taught you anything. Nobody's said anything. Nobody's been like, here's how the rules work or nothing. She's like, no, nothing like that. I said, yeah, you're done.
Oh, that's funny, man. Oh, that's got to be nightmarish. But don't be like my dad. My dad never wanted to take me out because of the same kind of thing, even though I did go to class because he was worried I'd wreck the car and he'd be screwed, But then it took me forever to get my driver's license because I didn't have a car to take the damn test in. You know what I mean? Like it was all crazy. You got to kind of be cool, but let her mom take most of it.
Yeah, her mom's got to do that.
Yeah, she's got the money and the extra income from the other dude. So, all right, everybody, we're done. Thanks for listening. Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
You've been listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to oblast@vgn.us. That is VGN as in video game news. And be sure to check out our Patreon page, which is at patreon.com/VGN, where you can get all of our shows, our videos, and some musings. Be sure to tune in each week for new episodes on our Patreon page or every other week on the public RSS feed that you're subscribed to now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Peace.